I think what you guys have done that's so impressive to me is that the community you've built is just incredible. What are some pillars or like mission statements that you guys live by to like really cultivate that community?
So I think there's a couple things. One is that so sorry, Michael, to your point, like someone who will work for free because they love a brand, I always want that person.
True.
Above the person with the resume.
Always.
That is honestly, like I tell people all the time, if I've done only one thing smart, it's hiring from the gut for people that are
Totally.
really passionate about what we're doing.
100%.
And like fuck a resume and what school you went to. Honestly, I don't know where this may be bad. I don't know where one person in my company went to college.
Don't give a shit where they went to college.
I don't even care if they went to college.
Better if they didn't.
Yeah.
Like, So I agree with that. And I think that I had a big watershed moment in my career where I remember being at AOL and we had a CEO level meeting and we went through every resume of everyone who had applied to AOL that week. And these resumes got ripped. Where'd the kid go to, where'd the person go to school? Did they go to a private school? Where'd they go to college? Were there any typos on the resume? What was their GPA?
Oh.
And I was like, this sucks. Like everyone who's brilliant that I knew was foreign or an entrepreneur or just tripped into something editorial and became something great. So I agree with that 100%. I also am really wary of people who have spent a lot of time in a very traditional place and then all of a sudden like find Jesus structure and want to be like, I want to be an entrepreneur. Like it's never going to work.
You're so right about that.
I hate those people.
Yeah.
Like we've had a bunch of those that have lasted like 15 minutes where it's like, they don't know how to use Google Sheets. They don't know how to like manage their business over text message. We do a lot at our company over text message, which you may say is wrong or right, but it's like, that's the pace that we're moving. And it's really hard when you've been spoon-fed. And I think this about like people entering the workforce is like, if you've had it easy and you have not had to dig and grind to get what you want, you're going to struggle at a very entrepreneurial place.
Yeah, I think, and this is from my perspective, I think you probably maybe feel the same way. I looked at all the existing structures and how they were conducting business. And I was like, the only reason there's white space for us is because we don't want to do it that way at all, right? Like I want to completely break the status quo. Because that way exists. And to me, like a lot of these systems are very broken and slow and lethargic and create environments without innovation. I was like, okay, if we just like throw that whole playbook out the window, maybe we crash and burn, but there's a whole new way to do this.
And it doesn't matter. Like if you have, you crash and burn all the time. We crash and burn daily. But I think to your point, crashing and burning and just being honest about it and capturing those moments, the good moments and the bad moments, that's what builds a community. That's what makes you relatable. That's what makes people have affinity for you. We look at it where our talent is really trying to be synonymous with something. So if it's Jared Carrabis is our Red Sox guy. Most 28-year-olds on a Friday night have something better, quote unquote, better to do. If the Red Sox are playing, Jared knows Jared's on call for the blog. And Jared's on call for Twitter, and Jared's on call for Instagram stories. And that is the difference of great talent, in my opinion, versus mediocre, okay talent, which is if you're going to be something or stand for something, it means every goddamn time that the Red Sox are on or something's happening in entertainment or something's happening in the news or in lifestyle or whatever, you have to have a take and you have to be ready to publish at that moment. And that's how we have created community, because when something happens, people are going to turn their heads and look to so-and-so or such and such for a response. And that's what made Dave very good, is that's how Dave built Barstool in the beginning. Dave knew that he didn't have the resources of the big guys. He didn't have any distribution. All he had was his sense of humor, literally a CMS, and Twitter. And he knew that if something happened around Boston sports or Boston news or Boston media, that if he had a take right at that moment, it would grow him much faster than if he had a take the next morning or the day after or the day after that. And that's how you build community, is you have to be very reactive. You have to have a point of view, and you have to be always there when someone's eyes turn to you or their ears turn to you. And I think that's really what separates people is like who wants to be there when it's inconvenient for yourself. Those are the people who will be most successful.
I mean, I'm inspired by Dave's sex tape to make a sex tape with Michael.
Why not?
I know. I'm going to put
Listen,
a chain on him.
Yeah, you should.
If this starts to slow down a little bit, I'll be there.
Let's
right?
go.
Yeah. But I think we had Jillian Michaels on this show early on. And she was talking about just her career and having some longevity. And she was saying like, she's been a controversial character at times, but at least like whether you like her, dislike her, agree with what she says, disagree, it's authentically her. And she's like, you may hate me, but like this is who I am. And when I think of some like Barstool, it's like controversy, this, that, but at least you always know where it stands and it stands in its truth.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, like
That's right.
maybe it's not for me and I don't like it, but like, at least it's not bullshit.
Yeah, correct.
What advice do you have for people that want to disrupt an industry? Because that's what you guys have done. I mean, you're disruptors. Is there any like little tips or tricks that you would give to someone?
I think it's kind of to your point, which is you got to be okay being hated. You have to be okay with people being like, you suck, you're ugly, you're fat, you're stupid, you're wrong. You're this, you're that, the other thing. You have to be, Deion Sanders says it really well, which is like, you have to wear your bullseye and you've got to be comfortable wearing a bullseye. If you want to disrupt something, it means that you're going against the status quo. People don't like when other people go against the status quo. So you have to have very thick skin and you have to be able to not get lost when everyone else is against you. I think that's a really hard skill. I think people struggle with that. I think the second thing is I think there are a lot of people who have like very lofty ideas of disruption. I'm going to disrupt an industry. I'm going to create a new sector. I'm going to do this, that, or the other thing. It's not enough to have like a lofty business school ideal for disruption. Disruption happens in the mud and it's a grind. It's day in, it's day out, it's constant failure, it's constant iteration, and without a lot of shine and starlight and accolades. So you have to be willing to slog through that. And then the disruption, it will start to happen in inches, and then it will move to yards or whatever, and then it moves to miles. Like disruption happens slowly and surely. And, I look at Barstool Sports over the last 5 years as like, in 2016, we were just trying to figure out how to make money and like get the payroll going. And, I was trying not to get kicked off Facebook Live, basically. Like, and I was trying to, we're always getting shut down on Twitter.
From like a compliance standpoint?
Compliance, the stream never worked. Like, we were just trying to make it work. And now, flash forward, I had a conversation with Dave today about having security. Like, that's crazy from where we were 5 years ago. And that's not that long of a time. But we weren't thinking about, when Dave's a big celebrity. We were just trying to make ends meet and to make a blog and to make a few podcasts and to do a couple video shows. And so for me, it's like, if you really want to disrupt something, you have to believe in it. You have to be willing to be hated for it. And you have to be completely maniacally focused on very small progress.